Shocking news. Sense the tone. Shocking news. The Australian Prime Minister has just revealed that its intelligence service, ASIO, determined that the IRGC was responsible for a wave of anti-Semitic attacks in Australia last year. This included arson attacks against kosher restaurants and synagogues. So the question is why? And if we look at the history of these type of events, the reason actually becomes very clear. During the Soviet Union's intelligence war against the Western world, in particular the United States and Israel, of which I'm sure you can still feel the remnants, the KGB partook in multiple operations, active measures in the Western world and in the Middle East designed to ignite these hostilities against their enemy. There were several operations, including Operation SIG and Operation Pandora, as in opening Pandora's box of hatred, that were designed to instigate copycat attacks of anti-Semitism. So, for example, they would paint swastikas on doors or desecrate Jewish cemeteries. That would elicit a copycat effect. Why? Because of something called mimesis. Mimesis is the theory of humans copying what other humans do. So they were trying to essentially create a situation that appeared that anti-Semitism was on the rise, so that anti-Semitism would, in effect, rise. There's actually a modern term for this. It's called astroturfing, to make something look like it's organic from the people, whereas it's actually foreign intelligence. There are literal quotes from the chairman of the KGB, Yuri Andropov, who said that they needed to elicit a Nazi-style hatred against Jews to create a terroristic bloodbath against the United States and Israel. And as you can see, even though the Soviet Union may have lost the physical Cold War, it very, very, very clearly won the intelligence war. Let's not, for 1 second, delude ourselves about that. So now let's put this into context in terms of what's going on now. So yes, we know that there's a physical war happening in the Middle East, but we also know there's also an intelligence war. The objective of the intelligence war is to turn the Western world against its own values, to foment these hostilities and hatred towards its own government, towards Jews, towards Israel and the United States with these plots, and turn toward the values of the Islamic regime in Iran so that it could seamlessly export its revolution, which is its stated objective. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, and I really hate to break it to you if you haven't, but it's sort of working phenomenally, fantastically, insanely well. So well, in fact, that the Oracle of Truth of our time insists that the number one state sponsor of terror in the world is not a threat.
Iran, I will tell you this. Iran is no threat to us. Iran is absolutely no threat. Absolutely no threat to the United States of America. Absolutely no threat to the United States of America. There is no conceivable way in which they're a threat to the United States of America.
You can literally just follow their operations from 1992 until now, which started in Buenos Aires alongside Hezbollah, killing 29 people and 85 people in Berlin, mafia-style gun downs in restaurants to kill Kurdish opposition figures. In France, literally stabbing with a kitchen knife and killing the former prime minister and his associates. In Switzerland, murdering a human rights advocate. Intelligence services in Denmark and Netherlands both determined that there were multiple assassination plots. MI6 determined that in 2022 alone, there were at least 10 kidnap or murder for hire plots by the Islamic regime that have increased exponentially since. In France, again, a foiled attempt to bomb a Paris rally. In the United States, the DOJ has charged operatives for attempted kidnap or murder for hire plots against Iranian activists. In 2009, they tried to assassinate Jamshid Sharmad on US soil in California, and then they kidnapped him from Dubai and took him to Iran and assassinated him. In 2011, there was an IRGC plot to bomb a restaurant in Washington, D.C. In 2022, an IRGC operative attempted an assassination of the US National Security Advisor John Bolton for $300,000. And not to mention, of course, the assassination plot against Donald Trump, and that person is actually currently right now in this moment of time the president of the United States of America. So I don't know about this whole not a conceivable threat in any conceivable way, but I can tell you this. The same people that once romanticized the Soviet Union, those people were in hindsight proved to be catastrophically wrong, and the intelligence war that was coming from the communists was far more significant than anybody ever imagined. But at the time, they too were living in the twilight zone, and they believed the propaganda of obvious mass murderers, terrorists and autocrats. And we're quite literally reliving the exact same thing. And I promise you, the only people who believe that that is the right side of history are people who are living on a planet, in a universe, inside a galaxy that is called unreality. And I don't know what you do with your life or your time, but I implore you to never visit that place. Stay with the sober minds of the time.